I want to be mindful of how I approach what I'm about to talk about because I never want to encourage someone not to continue to be light for others when they are difficult or when they really need healing and support. But one of the things that I was just sitting here and reflecting on was the amount of people in my life that I helped past the point of return to the point that I ended up damaged. And I want to share a phenomenon that I've realized, and that is if you get into a car that's going to crash, it's going to crash with you in it, even if you're not the driver, right? So better put, you don't need to be the one driving the car to be a part of a car accident. The person behind the wheel is at fault, right? But you're still in the car. Relationships are kind of like that. We have to be very careful of who we're helping and why. It is totally okay to help people when they are down on their luck. They need a friend, they need support, but we need to be very, very mindful of people's character and their values. Bad people do bad things. Bad people operate on a system that is different than yours, especially if you're here and you have a good heart. My therapist would always say, you forget that everyone doesn't have the same heart that you do. And man, is that a hard-fought lesson, and I am in my mid-30s and I am still learning that way too much. Not everybody has the same heart as you. We need to keep in mind that the more toxic and manipulative and sociopathic someone is, the harder they are to spot. Now, of course, our world is run on narcissism and toxic people, and this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. I was raised in a narcissistic household. I was raised by very unhealthy people, and I think that it's important to understand this because these people can also be some of the most incredible, funny, charming, successful, brilliant people you've ever met, and even very giving and selfless and kind because it's for a purpose, it's to an end. But a wolf in sheep's clothing is called such because you can't spot them. They look like a sheep, they look like they're part of the herd, they look U-shaped, they look friend-shaped, but it's a wolf. And the better the wolf is, the harder it is to spot them. You can't see them. The really good ones, you can't see them. So it is important, in my opinion, to test people before you let them into deep layers of your life. You will still be wrong sometimes. My mom says it wasn't until almost I was 10 years old that she realized how toxic my adopted father was and how evil he was. That's a long time to be married to someone. And they had a couple kids. So for those of you that are going through this or were raised by narcissists or toxic people or abusers, you can probably comment on this video and share with me that some of you had obvious examples of mistreatment, and some of you had even worse, which is an insidious ink that is underlying that person's skin and you can't see it. If there is a battle on earth between light and dark, why would they make the dark side obvious? That seems dumb, right? If you wanted to prevent 100,000 light workers from helping the planet, and you wanted to prevent the entire planet from enlightening and awakening, don't you think you would hide the manipulation tactics? Don't you think you would create systems that control people without them recognizing they're in a system? Don't you think you would create a prison around them that they can't see? You're in it right now, most of us. One of the most dangerous things for this planet is true love. Divine union, call it twin flame, call it divine marriage, call it being equally yoked, call it whatever you want. We won't experience a nirvana quite like that, maybe except for our connection to God and the divine, which we are supposed to be experiencing through our divine partnerships. I have never experienced demonic or dark energy attacks like when I was dating soulmates. Oh my God, right? And it's funny to me because they'll allow me to be successful in certain seasons and certain things. And they'll allow me a moderate amount of joy and happiness. But the moment it comes to divine partnerships, there's a reason when I do start being public about anyone I'm dating, especially if it's a divine connection, attack. And I have learned that over the years. I can literally tell a story to someone who is infiltrated by dark energy and or not as much in prayer as they should be and or connected to weird energy. And I can watch my relationship, the divine one, take a hit, take an arrow. So right now, I also want to remind you that you could be in a connection that seems divine or seems of God or of the light, and it's actually a really, really powerful trick to keep you stuck there. Because if you're not open to meeting the right person or someone else, you're just going to be hyper focused on this one person. You're not going out. You're not opening new opportunities for yourself. You're not traveling. You're not in a position to meet a new person. If you have someone reckless and unhealthy behind the wheel of the car being your life, that person's going to get karma for what they've been putting out to the world, even if no one can really see it on the surface. And if you're in the car when the karma comes, the karma is also going to be yours. Be careful being inside of a war that you didn't have a part of. Now, in scripture and in religion and even in spirituality, we have healers and we have spiritual firefighters. When someone is in the fire of the devil, of the enemy, of dark energy, whatever it is that you believe in, we go into the fire and I drag them out. And so do you, if you are this type of a healer, okay? I'm not scared to get down on the floor on my hands and knees and get dirty with someone to help bring them back to the light, back to who they are. Do you know how many times you have to do that for somebody who's under a demonic or a dark energy attack? Over and over and over. You will rewrite them back to their core energy. They will go right back into the same place, thought patterns, around the same people, with the same habits, and they will cycle all the way back. And then you pull them back out, and then they will cycle all the way back, and you pull them back out. What we don't do is make irreversible choices with those people, sign leases with those people, build businesses with those people, have children with those people, God forbid. Of course, children are always a blessing, but I just want to remind anyone listening to this that if you have someone in your life that you're not 100% certain is of the light, even if they say that they're religious, even if they say that they're spiritual, even if they say that they're a healer, look in their eyes and ask them if they are of the light. Look in their eyes and ask your higher self, is this person good for me? You heard it. You know the answer to that. Okay? And good people, I always say, how do we spot an evil person? One of the biggest ways to spot an evil person is someone who's always perfect. You know why? That's a mask. The human body has so many emotions up and down and around, and we have so many feelings about so many things. And I'm not saying you need to be a basket case, because of course, you know, some women are going to be more emotional than some men, and vice versa. Maybe some women are very serious and stoic and some men are very emotional, but the average person at least has some variation of their emotions throughout the course of a normal day. We want to see this. If you have someone in your life that is insanely charming and always perfect and never has a bad day and never has anything going on that is other than pleasant, they are acting. And I'm not talking about the politeness of your bank teller, okay? I'm talking about your best friend. I'm talking about your partner. And I'm not saying we don't want a peaceful, easy life, of course, but if you have a perfectly peaceful and easy life, typically there's two things going on. Either one, you are interacting with somebody who has a mask on, or two, you're interacting with someone that has been so traumatized that they are completely numb to their emotional system. And therefore, of course, every day is easy. We call this spiritual toxic positivity. That's not good either. Okay, so I come at this having healed a lot of this and walked through this myself, and also having been raised by a narcissist. I know how good they are at hiding it, and I know how powerful they are. And some of the things that I experienced, I may never be able to talk about on this camera, because I might not make it through to the other side. Very powerful people that run this world. A connection can be toxic to you without it having to mean the person is evil as well. But make no mistake, the values and the character of the people that you spend your time with absolutely matter, because you don't want to be in the car when it crashes. So help the sick, help the lost, help the poor. Support the people that need your light and your leadership. But when you witness that someone is a wolf, do not get in the car with them. Do not forget about the mask. And I'm not encouraging you to blow up your life, because that would be really, really bad. But we always talk about gray rock. Become so boring to that person. You silently fade away. You have nothing to give them, nothing to offer them, not even a fight, not even praise. Become as boring and neutral and gray and unappealing as you possibly can. That is the safest way to escape an evil person once you've spotted them. I'm not sure who this message was for. If this message was for you, please let me know. If I'm wrong for any reason, and there isn't a battle on earth between light and dark, then fantastic. We will cross over at the end of our lives, and I will have been wrong. But in a way, it's safer to pretend that there are, because we have no guarantees. But a logical person would stand to say that there's probably forces that do not want you to get to where you could go. And our entire world and planet runs on the energy of keeping you stuck. And we are expanding and evolving and growing at a rate that is insane. And I know you're seeing it because I'm seeing it. And I am hearing people say sentences that as a spiritual person, I never thought I would hear in my lifetime. And I'm seeing people who were so asleep finding themselves and being enlightened. So make no mistake that if one huge chunk of this earth is rapidly expanding into spiritual lightness, there's a whole equal and opposite side of that we do not want to participate in. A toxic relationship is one that's bad for you. It doesn't need to be a bad person. So if you've thought of someone during this video that you think might be a bad force in your life or might be preventing you from the next level, get out of the car quietly. Don't be there when their karma is served, and don't be there when the car crashes. I love you guys. I'm Britt Shane. I'm a serial entrepreneur, spiritual teacher, and business consultant. And thank you for spending your evening with me. And I'll talk to you soon.